for Wednesday.
It's worth it.
We're live, guys. So we're live on the internet once again. It's not a official episode. We'll call this in between rounds. Just a little State of the Union. What's going on in the world of MMA?
Current events, UFC Seattle.
The news, all
a lot
the
of
news
good
that
stuff
just dropped
happening
last week.
We hitting an intro?
No, I mean, yeah, if you want. I mean, just tell them about the coffee, Tanner. Tell them where they can go get some good quality coffee.
As always, brought to you by Checkmate, Specialty Roasters, Fair Trade, Organic, freshly roasted, shipped straight to your door coffee. And 6 amazing flavors. It's specialty grade. We talk about that all the time. You go to a lot of the stores, it's not going to be specialty grade, or it's going to be Starbucks and stuff, gourmet blend. This is going to be a step above, and I'm telling you, you try this with some Folgers next to it or something like that. The proof is in the beans. There's some good stuff. Check our link. Hit our DMs. If you need direction to the link, we'll get you some of the best coffee you've ever had.
Everything's in wherever you're watching from, whether it be Instagram. What's up, Jay Dominic, all the way from Poland, joining on Instagram.
What up?
Everything, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Well, YouTube, Facebook, anyways. In the show notes.
Dude, it's always it's always a Theo Vaughn level introduction when Tanner rips the coffee. It reminds me of a nice Theo Vaughn like sponsor, dude. Just it's nice, clean, straight to the point.
That's what we're going for here. Simple yet.
Not trying to waste your time, just trying to get the good shit in your cup, Daddy. Come on.
Look, here's the deal. If you're spending money on coffee, why not spend money on MMA coffee? 1, 2, it's fresh roasted. So if you're a person that likes coffee, but you're not getting fresh roasted coffee, it's going to be really great coffee. If you're getting fresh roasted coffee, then you already know how good fresh roasted coffee is. So we're just preaching to the converted here. Everybody that's tried it, we launched like 6 months ago. We have not gotten one complaint. Literally the one complaint we had, there was an order fuck up, and it was actually Tanner's order. That is literally, we've had people in here mixing flavors.
Coming to you, Billy.
Hitting us in the DMs. Yeah, people hitting us in the comments, DM, and going, "Oh, you should put the cinnamon bun with the bourbon." Like it's good coffee. We stand by it. We're coffee people. If you're coffee people, go ahead and try it. tinyurl.com/checkmateroasters. Most importantly, it's fresh roasted. Again, if you are not drinking fresh roasted coffee, this shit will make your pants move, male or female, guaranteed. It's good coffee. It smells good, tastes good.
And if you think we're lying, buy a bag and try it out anyways. Maybe you're wrong.
Pretty much what they're saying is if you want your balls to drop as far as Gene Silva's did whenever he finished that fight this past weekend, buy the coffee.
Bro, let me tell you something, dog. Hold on. Someone might have to shoot that motherfucker, okay? Like, that dude's got some screws loose. Like, I'm lost for words.
There are times where I'm like, is this real? Did this really, like, sometimes, bro, no bullshit. You're going back to, like, inside MMA times. Back in the day, I don't know if you know this, GL3, you might be too young. There was a show on Access TV called Inside MMA. Boss Rutan was on it. Joe Rogan stopped by. People would stop by here, and it was on Mark Cuban's channel. There was a dude one time that we knew that fought down the street, and he was fighting in Virginia, and he fucking ran across the cage and just drop kicked this dude into the fucking side of the cage, and then started beating the shit out of him. It made Inside MMA, which back then was like if you made Inside MMA, you were doing.
It was like MMA World Star.
It was like MMA World Star. It's like you get to fight somebody else World Star in the back, right? And it makes it on World Star. That shit. When stuff like that happens, I'm like, is this real life? Like, is this really happening right now? When he racked on the dude, hit him with the nice 1-2, stopped, looked at the fucking ref, like you thought you had an epic moment with Pereira when he did this shit.
I swear.
Fucking, right? It was on the level with that, like the level of epicness of just, did we just see this?
He hit the Alex Pereira before the fight was even over. He went, bah, 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 bah.
Yeah, bro.
And he looked at the ref like, really? You're going to allow this? You're going to allow me to continually to beat this man? Like, all right, if you'll allow it. Like,
he's done.
Bro, like dapping his opponent up, barking like a dog. Like you watch him the MMA or the videos leading up to fight week in the interviews, and he's barking and sitting there tickling guys like while they're interviewing him on the chin and like just screws loose. I'm telling you.
He gave Buffer he gave Buffer the Fighting Nerds glasses, and then Buffer gave him his intro card, which I think was pretty cool.
It was really cool. Yeah, there's something in the water down there at the gym at the Fighting Nerds.
And there's more of them. There's more of them coming. Like there's
more. Like Carlos Pratis did.
There's more behind him yet. There's even more behind. I think there's 3 or 4 people that are fighting on their team, if not more, that aren't even.
Oh yeah,
that are
but
pros
we just
that aren't even there yet. Yeah.
We just got Prates announced for what was it, 314 in Miami?
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I said. There's so much.
Geoff Neal.
You think that's going to be a main card fight? Is it?
I would imagine. But we'll get to that in just a second. Prelims for UFC Seattle. What was it? 6 fights, 7 fights, 7 finishes. Didn't see a third round. A lot of great fights here. Like Mr. Paige Van Zant getting pushed in the cage after his fight. Kind of weird that you get mad at your opponent for beating you, but it happens. And Dana wasn't too pissed, so we'll probably see him again.
Yeah,
that was a strange one, for sure. You don't see that very often after your opponent loses. Yeah. Dana's probably letting him go.
Dana said he wasn't really pissed about it. Like he's like, whatever. But I mean, like usually you see him get mad at the ref, not mad at the guy that beat him. Yeah. Like, you know. Yeah, that was good. Ricky Simone putting Basharat on a freaking poster. Just
bro, the best shit.
Like
the best shit I saw all week. It might be that meme of Basharat laying there, and it said, "There is no meme. Paul Craig has died." Yo, I seen it. I seen it. Was fucking crying. And it is what it is. Just the internet, bro. I seen that shit, and it said, "There is no meme. Paul Craig has died." Bro, I fucking started. I was ugly crying. That's how hard I was laughing, bro. I don't know why it struck. It struck the way it struck.
No, that one got me. I was high on Basharat. Like I thought he was really fluid with the striking in and out. Like if he couldn't get the finish on him, he was able to outpoint his opponents. Very smart fighter, but Ricky Simone put them paws on him. I mean, just starched him. Mansour Abdul Malik. Don't want to butcher that. Is who he says he is. That was a pretty good one. And is Ian Cutelaba back? Is he
2 wins in a row? I look, as long as the guy's been around, I'm not as high on him as I am Fatima Klein, but like again, I look at stuff a little differently. These guys can win 4 in a row. Like I'm not all hard on the Taffa brothers. You guys are heartless sons of bitches and want the Taffa brothers to get cut and go to the BKFC. I like the Taffa. Like there's a plate. Look, there's a place for everybody, and if you pay attention and think about stuff like this, there's a reason why Ion Cutelaba is one of the only fighters from his region, from his country, in the UFC, right? So there's a market there for him. And again, we've talked about how guys over in that region, in those regions over there, are the champions, and the fighters or the athletes are more celebrated because they're fewer and far between. So there's a reason why you saw a surge of Australian fighters and a surge of New Zealand and guys from that area come, and then the UFC starts making yearly trips to, there's a reason why one would assume they're getting ready to open up. Well, I thought they would have been opening up to Italy at some point, but it looks like the BKFC's beating them to Italy. So, which is kind of cool, I think.
No, I like Ian. I mean, say BKFC, this, that, whatever. Like he's a mixed martial artist, so like we say it all the time. They throw the word around journeyman gatekeeper, not saying it's him. He still has. I think he's still kind of young, so I mean, like he still has plenty of room to grow or whatever. But I mean, I definitely think that this is where he belongs. I don't think there's any reason for him to be cut. He's exciting. Whether he loses, whether he wins. I mean, I'm
not saying he would even on a skid, because he was on a skid before, but there's, from It's safe to say there are reasons. There's guys still on the roster that are not just on the roster for their fighting skills. And that's really what I think. You got guys like Ian Cutelaba that might drop 2 or 3 in a row, but safe to say they're still around for it. Plus he's been around. Man, that guy's been a pro for. I'm gonna look up the Tapo right now just because I don't.
Oh yeah, we talk about it all the time though. It is a young man's game, and I mean the sport is constantly evolving and getting younger and younger with these 7-0 guys, 8-0 guys coming into the sport and stuff. And
at 21, 7-0 at like 21, like.
He's been fighting in the UFC since 2016.
Yeah, 19-10. So again, as a pro, 40 fights. Just trying to look here.
It's crazy. That's crazy. People don't. I mean, think about making that walk. We talked about it last week, but
I loved his back and forth with Anikalev too. The whole debate with that, whenever he lost the first one.
Run that name by me one more time.
Anikalev.
Ankalaev.
Anikalaev.
Not Anikalaev. It's not. He's not a commentator and a fighter. Ankalaev. We're gonna get these pronunciations, boys.
I know they're all.
I'll bring out the voice clips. I'll go
it stays
Johnny
with the Brazilians and Russians all the time.
I'll at least attempt it. Like I butcher it, and all due respect. Everybody makes the walk gets respect, but I at least attempt it.
And then moving into the main card, Alonzo Menifield and Julius Walker. I believe this one got fight of the night. I don't know. I guess maybe I'll have to rewatch that one. I mean, I didn't think it was bad, but I did think both guys were tired in the second round, and it was really evident. And I think it got a little sloppier towards the end there, maybe. But both guys were putting it all out there, so I will give them that one. I don't know.
I mean,
did you see that one?
Menifield moved up a month, cut a month off of his camp to take the fight after his opponent dropped, and then Julius Walker took the fight on 2 weeks' notice. I don't think anybody actually lost that fight. You know what I'm saying?
It's going to be one of them too.
Stock-wise, I don't think anybody lost that fight. Julius Walker, clearly an all-around athletic guy, 6-0. As you just said, one of these young guys coming in, former basketball player, 6-0, took the fight on 2 weeks' notice. His stock is up.
Yeah, that Menifield and Cutelaba could be a good matchup next too. Menifield ranked at 15. Cutelaba looking to get in. Shout out Trippy D, one of S-Dog's guys on Twitter. Me and him were talking about that on Twitter, I think earlier today, that they could be matched up.
Yeah, that's not a bad matchup. I like it. Yeah, not saying it was a bad fight, but I felt like there were maybe a couple others that could have got. I felt like the Rob Font Matsumoto fight could have got fight of the night, honestly. But nonetheless, both guys, like I said, they put it all out there. So we talked about the Gene Silva earlier, Melsik Bagdasaryan. Yeah, get a gun.
Get a gun.
You see you hear barking in the distance. You hear barking in the distance with the Brazilian accent on that thing, dude. Just start loading the clip. It's a wrap.
He's a wild one.
Bro, that dude, I'm telling you, screws loose. Like there's no other way I can describe it. He was on
a hot streak too for a while, then he got stopped by who was that? Gene Silva.
I'll have to look here real quick. I mean, I don't know what they're doing down in Brazil or where Pablo is finding these guys, honestly, because you just can't teach this. Like you can't teach this like level of crazy. Like these are the guys you want in your gym, like you could teach them to control it. You can teach them to rein it in. You can't teach them to be like Gene Silva is.
What question did you ask GL3 about Silva?
About him getting stopped.
If he got stopped, but no, he didn't.
No, he didn't.
He did not.
I'm not seeing it.
Undefeated in the UFC.
His last loss was 2018 and 2017.
Yeah,
wow. Decisions.
He's going to have
Silva. Gene Silva, Bryce Mitchell, book it. That was a good call out. I like it. Like it a lot. Rob Font, Gene Matsumoto. Some people are saying This one was a split decision with Rafa winning. A lot of people are saying that Matsumoto got robbed. I don't think so. This was my fight of the night. I like this one so like more than anything. The grappling was very back and forth. Rafa showed that he's known for his boxing, but he's a mixed martial artist for a reason. Matsumoto, the new guy coming in, hungry, undefeated, lost his O. I believe he came in on short notice, and so that's one of the things I love about MMA. Like we have fighters that are willing to come in short notice, put their O on the line. Like
replacing Don Cruz.
Mm-hmm.
I love
Instead
it.
go ahead.
Whenever there's fighters that have just such a specialty, and then they can really go in there and just mix it up, is just something nice to see. Like you said, being a mixed martial artist. Lazy Bed, what up?
What up, Lazy? Appreciate you stopping
Lazy?
by. One of S-Dog's guys. Always appreciate you. But yeah, no, he stepped in, like we said, short notice, did his thing. Like I said, this was my fight of the night. Rob Font got the nod, split decision. Close fight, not a robbery. It's time we to discern the two in the MMA community. Just because it was a close fight, and you never know what those judges are seeing. You know, it's a different aspect, what they're hearing. Like Eric Nixick talked about, which I'm sure it's a lot different when you're in a stadium and, you know, the roaring crowd and whatever. You're probably not hearing as much, but still the angles, whatever. You don't know what the judges are seeing. It's a close fight, so you can't say that any of these judges got it wrong. It's just up to interpretation at that point. Yeah, close fight, good one. Brendan Allen, Anthony Hernandez. You said you caught this one, GO3.
Oh, yeah. I love this fight. I thought this was awesome. I actually thought Brendan Allen fought kind of a bad fight because you imagine he wants it standing and to keep it standing with Hernandez. And just the fact that he kept engaging, like on the ground. I mean, Hernandez was the better guy. I remember I was sitting there watching with my guys. I was like, dude, this Hernandez is good. And then after the first round, it was like, damn, Brendan Allen actually pulled off probably the end of the first round. But Hernandez was just relentless on the ground, always coming after it. He's not, I mean, he doesn't it's one of them guys, he doesn't look the best out there, but just he's relentless, always constant pressure, goes for the takedowns, looking for submissions, ground and pound.
Yeah, and that's what I love. I love grappling with intention, not just the holding them down, like stuff like that. But I mean, Brendan Allen, yeah, arguably, I believe he won the first round, and then Anthony won the last two. But I mean, grappling, I don't know what happened, and that's what I think. I think the first round gave Brendan a lot of confidence in his grappling, and that maybe he could. This is an aspect he could take it, and he could win this fight. But being a jiu-jitsu guy and training grappling, it just seemed like the mistakes that Brendan Allen was making just seemed too obvious. And
yeah,
I mean, we talk about it all the time. It's a lot different when you're in there and you're in the heat of the moment, but I just can't imagine in fight camp and grappling training and stuff that some of these mistakes weren't I don't know, they definitely could have been avoided. And like you said, could have trusted in his striking a little more, tried to keep it standing a little more. And I mean, I believe Brendan Allen has decent takedown defense. So, I mean, work it in there. I mean, I don't know.
That's what I thought was going to happen. After the first round, that's what I thought his game plan was going to maybe shift, use your takedown defense, keep it standing, and just outpoint fight him on the feet.
But like you said, Anthony Hernandez is relentless. He's not going to stop coming, whether it's the best technique in the world or whether he's just wearing you down and chipping away at you. He's great win by him.
I like that at least. At least he, like you said, grappling with intention. That it's a lot more. It's exciting to watch whenever there's a guy like that. You know, it doesn't make there to be a boring fight. He's always kind of just going for it.
This is the grappling we want to see as MMA. We want to see people get split open with elbows, like
Dreykus.
We saw in that fight.
Dreykus and Brendan Allen are going at it pretty hard after the fight as well.
See that as well. Brendan Allen says that DDP's beating all the guys that are on their way out, and DDP is just relentless, trolling him about his loss. I mean, I watched a video not too long ago about DDP's always been relentless. There was a regional circuit or something where he was talking about a guy's kids, telling him to be a better dad. I'm just golly,
DDP's got all the answers, man.
No, DDP, really there's the whole Bilal DDP talk, recently and stuff. I am willing to bet money that DDP is going to bring up Gaza if they ever fight. Like it's dude.
Blunt's getting obliterated verbally in that exchange. It's gonna be bad.
It's gonna be amazing. Henry Cejudo and Song Yadong in the main event. This one going to a technical decision after an eye poke in the third round led to a doctor stoppage. But the rule is, if people don't know, this is why I went to a decision or why I went to the scorecards, because more than half of the rounds had already been completed. So the only other option, which the thing is, the eye poke wasn't it wasn't intentional. S-Dogs, what's up, boy?
S-Dogs.
So the eye poke wasn't intentional. So if they were to prove it was intentional, whatever, then it's a DQ or a point taken, whatever. But wasn't intentional. More than half the rounds it's started and been completed. So then it goes to the judge's scorecard as in a 3-round fight. So Song Yadong got the obvious win. We talked about it last week. Like, we didn't really know what Henry Cejudo was going to do. We didn't think that the obvious route was for him to stand and bang with Song Yadong. We didn't really see the path to victory. And I mean, it just showed. I mean, he's older and
38 and 27 man, difference.
Yeah, well, just the speed was apparent. And I mean, he wasn't able to find the rhythm and land the shots without, he couldn't find the timing. Like, you don't necessarily have to have the speed, but with the counters and the putting the feints and stuff, you got to have the timing on it. So, and it just wasn't there. So does he do it? I mean, I don't want to say that this was him looking for a way out. Everybody gets respect, like we say, but you just wonder, like, with all the antics and stuff like that, if he thought, he was going to get a no contest or DQ, or if, this is a way for him to, not take such a hard loss and still kind of be able to bounce back a little bit. I don't know. This is a weird one.
S-Dog just said, what are y'all's thoughts on Triple C? Pretty much that, man. It's even in interviews, you could see how much like Henry cares, and it's like just his will to keep wanting to fight. You heard it last night. He was like, no, I want to fight. I want it to keep going, but I can't see. You saw the will to fight there, at least still, which I liked. I thought he could mix in his wrestling a lot more. It looked like Yadong's defense was actually really on point, though. But what was kind of confusing to me is, like, yeah, he might have not mixed it up, but I think he only shot for like 3 takedowns. And whenever Song Yadong got close to him, he just threw his guard up like this rather than mixing a takedown, throwing another shot, backing him up against the cage, making another combo, shooting again. Like what they teach in wrestling practice is it's repetitive shooting. You got to shoot 5-6 times in a row to just land one. I thought that was going to be more Henry's game plan, but
but Song was biting on the feints too, even when he was like feint shooting. So like, I don't understand why he can capitalize more on that with the grappling and stuff like that. But I mean, like, like I said with the last fight, it's different when you're in there and in the heat of the moment. But don't know if it's time to retire. I thought this was one of those fights where it was like going to be a telltale sign of where Henry was truly at in his career after being retired so many, like, on and off and stuff like that. Was he going to be able to bounce back and keep up with the ever-evolving new contenders, ever-evolving sport? And it's not looking good.
I like maybe an Aldo matchup, get him with a guy maybe like a Dom Cruz rematch. This is like he's retired. But
I'm going to pop back in and run my mouth. I mean, he went all showmanship and horrible acting aside. Like, at the end of the day, we talked about this off air. I've scratched my cornea. I know what that shit's like. I've been there. I don't know that he's he's saying this stuff. I'm not saying he was looking for a way out, but the way you acted, guys could take 5 minutes and the crowd's not going to start booing. Like, the antics, the being loud about it, like there's just telltale shit that he did that's kind of red flag.
Wanting to run it back.
Oh, red flag. Okay, I'm going to get the TKO. Then as soon as Jason Hurd's like, no. And I think that's why, and again, I'm not an expert. Bill Bookwalter, we'll get Bill Bookwalter's thoughts on all this on Wednesday. He's the one that's the most qualified to speak on it. And even then, he's going to defer to, he wasn't there, he didn't know what he saw, but we saw the way Henry Cejudo was acting. It was kind of a little sus, if you think about it. At no point And there's guys that have broken their fucking bones in this sport that tell the corner, and you might get a clip of it, and they don't want to let the people know. You know what I'm saying? They've torn ligaments, they've popped stuff, they've done this, they can't do this, I can't see this, I can't. And it's in their corner, and that's fine. He was very verbal about it. I'm not saying he wanted to look for a fucking way out, but that horrible fucking.
It doesn't help his case the way he acted.
Yeah, he was acting very, very, very strange with that.
It was very, very odd. Is all I'm saying. It was very odd. The exit sign was lit above the door, and they wanted someone to show him the way. Yeah, look,
That's what Lazy Bed commented.
I'm not gonna quit, but if you tell me I can't go on because the doctor stopped it, then book it.
It's out of my hands. Then and S-Dogs is asking, what do we think is next for song? He would say Umar. I'm gonna bring it back up. I think that's perfect. Like, I'm looking at the rankings right now. We've got he's obviously going to be up a ranking from a Henry Cejudo fight. I think he's going to be looking more up than Chito Vera because he did just only fight one rank above with that one. Corey's booked. Davison's booked. Piotr's not booked. Umar's not booked. Sean's not booked, but they're talking about rumor for the rematch with Barab there. So Umar, I say Umar song, book it.
Piotr's got something.
Book it. Got a bromance in the comments happening here.
First of all, let's stop matchmaking the day before it fucking happens, because you already know the guys that were involved in stuff last night. There's going to be shit playing out in the next 2 to 3 weeks, which is really why we're here. Tanner turned this into a fucking recap show. This is the State of the Union address. We got fucking news last week.
We just got to talking. Yes, now we're moving forward. Ilia Topuria has vacated the title.
Woo!
Yeah. I'm not mad at it.
Diego Lopez and Alexander Volkanovski at 314 for the vacant featherweight title. Definitely not what I expected to hear this week.
Dude, what do you think's going to happen to that?
Bill Bookwalter's besides himself. Bill Bookwalter's the only man I know. Look, here's the deal. It's going to sound corny as fuck to say this, but Bill Bookwalter is the only retired referee that, shout out to Bill. If you didn't notice, our homie Bill Bookwalter in the fucking UFC Brendan Allen fight package last night. Bill Bookwalter is the only grown-ass man that formerly refereed and was the third man in the cage for your favorite fighter, and also has a Diego Lopez mullet. So Bill Bookwalter is beside himself with the joy of his boy Diego Lopez getting a title shot. I'm overjoyed as well. I'm high on Diego Lopez. However, not at the expense of Alexander Volkanovski. This is one of them ones where it's kind of like, bro, I'm so looking forward to Gaethje and Dan Hooker, but why does it got to be Gaethje versus Dan Hooker? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's why Volk,
at that point, I'm not even like upset like about these two guys. Like, it's like, I don't know, Volk's a champion, you know, so you don't really, like, with his dominance for so long, you don't really expect him to see in those bad situations. You expect to see Justin Gaethje, Dan Hooker beating the shit out of people, you know, when they're fighting, or getting the shit beat out of them, like bad, brutal, bloody fights. So I don't know. It's more to be expected at this point. Like, I'm just at if they did this for a reason. If they die, they die. Like, we might experience that Saturday, boys. Like,
but
be prepared. I've come to I've come to a realization with that.
Dan Hooker keeps saying just he's gonna go out in a stretcher, win or lose. Like, that's so sick.
Exactly.
He's like he knows. Where's the after party? At the ER, he said.
They're gonna beat the autism out and then back into each other.
We haven't even got into that yet. That's what is that? When is that?
2 weeks, yeah.
That's what we're talking about too, with Ilia vacating the featherweight title. We did have Diego Lopez saying that there was going to be no more champs, that if champs wanted to move up, they had to vacate with the Ilia rumor, but Dana says that's not true. Ilia just had done all that he wanted to do at featherweight, and felt like he had nothing else to do, and he didn't want to hang up anybody else's dreams of getting a title shot. So
I don't agree he did everything. Look, here's the deal. I'm not everybody. I always preface this. Everybody makes the walk gets respect on this show. Like, guys do what they want to do. It's their business. In my opinion, doesn't mean fuck all. But like, if you're gonna sit there and write a definitive history of MMA, and then you start a chapter on Ilia Topuria, does anybody feel that he did everything he could? No. I don't. Just like when Sean O'Malley was talking about going up after defending the belt once. Fuck that. There's you go up after you have a run like Israel Adesanya. You go up after you have a run like Alexander Volkanovski. You go up after you have a run like John Jones. Like that's when you go up. You clear it out. And when I say clear it out, I mean when you start at the division and you start clearing it out, and the guy that was number 15 at the beginning of that has worked his way up, and you clear him out too. Like when I say clear out of division, I mean clear out of division. I don't. While what Ilya did is impressive, and who
like
he
an
did
era.
it to, and how he did it was impressive.
Let me give you this perspective. Too, we talk about it too, though. What do you do in like certain divisions, like featherweight, when the skill gaps are present? Everybody that went to get a title shot to Volk went around Max Holloway, and everybody that went through Max Holloway to get a title shot didn't get a title, or had it sidetracked, whatever, because they ran into Max Holloway. It was so apparent that with the domination by Volk and and Volk was the only guy that Max couldn't beat. It was so evident with the domination between these two that they were leagues ahead of the rest of the division. So when you beat those two that are leagues ahead of don't you kind of define your point that you were the top dog in that division? There's really
here's the asterisk with it, and Lazy put it best, and I said this I forget, we were talking about last week or the week before.
Yes, Dana debunked the rumor.
I like the idea of double champs. However, make it special. Like, okay, some sort of something where if you're the 45-pound champ and you go up and you grab the 55-pound belt, like you gotta do something with. And again, barring guy breaks his arm, he's out a certain amount of weeks, barring any injuries, like, and you can't really put a time limit on it, but you have to say within like 180 days, we'd like to see within this quarter next year, like you have to specify something contractually. That way you don't have guys just locking shit down. Then you have to have interims. Then everybody's arguing about interims. And if, oh, well, he deserves an interim. There's people on the internet that think interim title belts should be handed out like fucking Pez, like fucking candy. And it's not what it's there for. It's not how it's supposed to be used. Rapid turnaround clause. Lazy put it good. That's really where it's at. I agree with kind of like somebody cleared out a division. They're done making the weight cut. We talked about the younger guys come in, bang out 6-7 fights, maybe grab a strap at the lowest weight you can cut, and then start working your way up, kind of like what Alex Pereira is in the middle of doing. Hopefully, I want to see him at heavyweight, but there's a place for it. It's not everybody needs to defend the belt 5 times and then move up a weight class.
Yeah,
and I get what. Go ahead.
I think it is like you said, Tanner. It's like, all right, this is my thoughts on specifically Ilya, though. This isn't for like every other champ, but specifically Ilya. Like, he's beaten the top 2 dudes in that weight class. He is arguably the biggest star that the UFC has to offer right now, as far as like pay-per-view buys goes, and how big his name is. And then he said in the No podcast that, like, what are the big names in the UFC? Well, they're all sitting at lightweight, like Poirier, Gaethje, Islam, Charles, like, going and just getting that big fight rather than fighting like a Mosvar Evelev where he has a chance to lose that fight. Down if
here's another thing.
I don't think there really is a chance for him to lose that fight either, because people forget that Ilya is a black belt and has more subs than he has KOs. He's just been leaving bodies since he got to the UFC. But I think I agree.
Hold on, because in the world of MMA, there's what actually happened, there's what people perceive to have happened, and then there's what the fuck happened that nobody will ever know because it was behind closed doors. There's NDAs, there's contracts, and all this shit. There's enough meat in the middle of that division right now that, I mean, who's to say if he didn't go up that Diego Lopez was getting ready to knock on the fucking door. Evelev, if they ever give him a fucking shot, the guy's a competitor. I'm not mad with the fact that he's got a 4 next to his name. Like, there's stuff that could have happened in that division. I can kind of see where there's like, okay, at the current time frame, is there really 3 or 4 back-to-back matchups where he can run it and run a 5-6? No. So now it makes sense for him to move, because there isn't. I think there's other people in the rankings as well as guys coming up now that 6 months or a year from now stringing together 2 fight wins. But again,
and I get what you're saying, but
go ahead.
Like, I get what you're saying, and like I do agree a lot of the times that champions do need to solidify their place as the champ. They do need to make some defenses before they talk about moving up, because now it's gotten a little bit ridiculous with the champ talk or double champ talk and champs talking about wanting to move up. But I feel like there's some extenuating circumstances like we saw with Conor McGregor. I don't think he defended either belt, but I mean, look at the superstardom of him and that kind of thing. And I mean, I think that plays into this as well. And like what I was talking about, no one could beat either of these guys. Like, I mean, Alexander Volk was untouchable. Max Holloway was untouchable, and except when he fought Bolt, he slept both of these guys. It wasn't like he just beat them; like he slept bad. Both these guys.
Let's also look at the current landscape and the timing of all this, right? Where did he end up at? Because I thought he was ranked. Okay, so Topuria, Little Topuria, the older brother, Alexandre Topuria is coming up. Merab's already said if he and that guy with his name, probably I would say 3 to 5 three fights for Alexandre Topuria, and he's in the top 10. If not fighting for a title. He's not going to fight Merab for a title. Ilya's done said he's not going to fight Merab. I wouldn't be surprised if after all this stuff goes on, with that, what I said earlier, there's nothing really coming up in the featherweight division other than Alexander Volkanovski versus Diego Lopez. Max Holloway is going to grab one before he gets back. He would have got back with Ilya anyways, in my opinion. So at least one. So there you might see some more shuffling based on this, because there's a lot there. To me, that makes sense. To me, it makes sense that this was he could have with. Like I said, there's nothing going on really. You got to wait for Diego Lopez and Volk to play out before you really even start figuring out who would face him next. If he really wanted to face Islam right after Ramadan, he probably could have done that, still had the strap and not vacated it. And then maybe afterwards said, okay, I don't want it no more. I'm going to vacate it. He vacated it now for a reason. None of us know what that is.
And Dana said,
I think there's some other stuff coming.
Dana said his theory was that talking to Ilya, that Ilya couldn't make the weight to featherweight anymore, that the weight cut was so hard on his body. So like in that aspect, I understand vacating the belt, because with Dana saying that, you better be ready to defend both belts. He was probably like, I don't really want to defend that belt if, I do get the lightweight belt. So I might as well just focus on this and not hang this up. So we can at least respect that than him, hanging the division up.
But at the end of the day, there's only been 4 double champs. If I was Ilya Topuria and I was sitting at 145, and the plan is for me to look the division looking the way it is right now, and the plan was for me to fight Islam at 55 anyways, I'd keep the belt, and why not be the 5th? Nobody's just like Cody Russell's KO. Nobody's taken away that you're the 5th person ever to be a double champ. And if they do cut double champ status off, and there's only X amount, that makes it even more rare. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know.
But while I say that, like, yeah, give him the shot, and that's my opinion, it might not be Dana's opinion, and it also could be a slippery slope. Like I said, the double champ talk has kind of got out of hand. Like some champs talk about, I'm going to defend it, and then I'm going to move up, be double champ. And it's like, no, you fight in your division for a reason, like we talk about clearing it out and stuff. But I mean, like, I talk about extenuating circumstances with Ilya, but so I don't know. I think it just slippery slope, Dana. But
I mean, depending on again, everything we're talking about, you can't loop it in. Lazy, I don't like to loop stuff in, because you have stuff going on in divisions that wouldn't have happened in divisions 5-6 years ago because of the caliber of talent that was in there, like people, situations. I mean, shit that happened. Look at Tony Ferguson tripping over a light cord. Like that cost us one of the top 5 fights that everybody said, if you could book a fight that was supposed to happen multiple times and never did, which one would you book? That's on a lot of people's lists. So like, it's stupid little stuff like Shavkat. What is Shavkat's injury? Why is Shavkat still out? Why is JDM? Everybody was expecting Shavkat to have next. If you'd have said, okay, Shavkat's sitting out, he's going to go ahead and do this fight, and then he'll fight Shavkat later on. Well, here we are, second opponent come up. Shavkat's still nowhere to be seen. So
injured. I think I speak for everybody when I say that we wouldn't be mad with the JDM champ. So,
do you think they offered it to Leon first before JDM?
No.
Do you think they would have done that?
No, I think they wanted Rocky in London or in England.
That's what I was thinking, but
I mean,
No, I don't think.
Back to my long-winded answer, Lazy. I think there's it's situational. I don't think you can make a case to where every guy that fights at middleweight who's lucky enough to get a champ status early enough in his career when he's injury-free, younger, more in his prime. There's no way that Dricus du Plessis is going down and taking the welterweight strap. There's no way.
Right.
Because it's Dricus du Plessis. However, and again, Khamzat Chimaev had health issues. I'm just looking at the names here.
I don't see. The short answer, no. Besides light heavyweight and heavyweight, I don't think there's
going
really
down to 170. No, like none of the. So it's situational. I think that's what makes it special because it's commonplace for a guy to come in and cut down to like say 55 and end up a 70 if he fights long enough, whatever, maybe 85 and having luck because it's all about length, size, frame, skill set. There's so many variables.
Not everybody can be Jared Cannonier.
Not everybody can be Andre. What was it? Andre? Not Andre. Yeah, it was Andre Arlovsky fought at 3 different weight classes too, I believe, didn't he?
Yeah. Or who was it? Freaking.
Or as long as he did. You know what I'm saying? There's
Rumble Johnson.
There's guys that have gotten absolutely obliterated in the cage. Andre Arlovsky's been on the receiving end of stuff and dude fought for a long ass time. So one could hope to have the longevity of an Andre Arlovsky.
UFC 315 too. We're going back to Montreal. Bilal Muhammad, we're talking about that one. Jack Della Maddalena, Shavkat is injured. Valentina Shevchenko making her defense. First defense as returning champ, I believe, against Manon Ferreira. So that one, yeah, no, both these cards, that's the thing. Seeing that little bald head in the war room at UFC can either ruin your day or make your whole week.
It depends on Dana's face. The minute the video starts, it depends on his face.
And Manon, too. I heard she's on a 12-fight win streak and hasn't lost in 7 years, too. About to fight Valentina off of the 3 fights with Grasso. That's going to be an interesting one. Striker.
This is going to be an awesome one. I am very excited about this fight. People can say whatever they want to, but yeah, I'll always tune in for a Valentina fight. Both these cards, man, just top to bottom, honestly, are just awesome. We kind of got spoiled with these two. Still haven't announced the prelims on 315, 314, top to bottom. What is announced right now is just banger after banger. So.
Yeah, how many more weeks do we have? So we just had the 22nd. We got Kate Almabayev this week. Pereira Ankalaev the following week. That's 313. Following week after that's Vittori Delidze 2. I want to look into that because I don't even. You can ask me what fights are on that card, and other than Vittori Delidze 2, I can't even recollect one.
I think I have
an interesting one.
The homie Sean Brady goes to London, England to fight Leon Edwards. We're stoked about that. The 22nd, so that's right after that. Yeah, man, we're in the thick of it here. Vegas Apex card, April 5th, TBD. Nothing on that yet. And then the week after that's Volk Lopez. They did just announce 2 GL3. They're going back to Newark.
Yeah, and this is just rumors. This is just rumors about the card, but it could be Marab and Sugar. Armin and Charles, they were talking about that card, and then Ian Gary and Colby, they were talking about that card. I mean, if they load that card up with those fights, dude, keep your eyes peeled, boys.
I might have some boots on the ground coverage.
I might have boots on the ground for the 3rd time in Newark.
Yeah, that'd be awesome, man.
Jersey.
I can't blame you.
Jersey.
Yeah, those.
Ninja Kawani.
Who did you say? You said Colby and Ian.
Colby and Ian Gary. Oliveira and Sarukian, and then they were talking main event, Marab and Sugar, which that'd be crazy. That'd be crazy.
See if he learned how to defend a single leg.
Oh God! You think the fight ends up any different?
I might be taking that week off from watching MMA. That might be my purge week. If I gotta pick one to break it up in the middle, and I got shit to do. It might be Marvin Vittori, Roman Delidze. You guys let me know how that worked out. I was kind of eager to dive into that card. We're not even gonna waste our time talking about that card.
Is that this weekend?
No, that's down the road. I'll get back to it in a minute. Blachowicz versus Olberg.
They can't all be bangers, dog.
No, I know they can't all be back. No, I'm stoked for the London card, other than the fact that Sean Brady is on it. Christian Leroy Duncan's fighting on that card. Mick Parkin's fighting on that card against Marcin Tybura. Lonair Kavanaugh's fighting Felipe Dos Santos. Morgan Charrier versus Nathaniel Wood. Our homie Jordan Vucenic versus Chris Duncan. Molly McCann, Estela Nunez, Gunnar Nelson, Kevin Holland, Yen Blachowicz, Carlos Oberg, and of course Leon Edwards, Sean Brady. We're not even gonna talk about that one yet. I'll get hyped about that. I'm stoked for Sean getting that opportunity. Look, if Sean Brady ends up with a number 1 in his next to his name, I don't know a lot of people that. Let me find out that Lazy, are you in Jersey? He said we better get Fatima Klein on the Newark card, which means the bi-yearly return of Gutty Nelson. Yeah, Gutty Nelson. People haven't seen him. Dude, I'm a little disappointed. I used to be so stoked. Gunnar Nelson just kind of like, he had this like, and then just now he's over here and you can't even really see what's going on. I was high on Gunnar Nelson. No, this weekend coming up, if he makes it, Manel Cape, against Alma Bayev. Cody Brundage versus Julian Marquez.
Does anybody know what happened to the Pantoja and Kai Kara France fight?
Esteban Ribovic. Yeah, I thought, didn't they pop?
They were going to make that. They announced it for the Miami card.
I thought they moved it.
Then there was no word, nothing about it. They just announced the Miami card again, and then they weren't on it. So it's been nothing. Very strange.
I'm not seeing anything. Yeah, they kind of like, oops, let's slip that right back out from under you. You don't remember that.
I mean, they kind of did that with the Hooker fight, too, when they dropped the Hooker fight.
Yeah.
No, let me see. You know what?
No, we've got some great cards coming up. I mean, Joe Pyfer fighting. Got a Mexico City card coming up. UFC going back to Mexico City. Super excited for that one.
There's actually... Yeah, that's Moreno Ursig, which should be a good fight. Gastelum, Joey P. You know, you already know who we're going for in that one. Vic Pinchel.
You know who we're going for.
I mean, we don't.
Yeah, they stacked it up with some Mexican fighters.
That's what I figured it was going to be.
So. Yeah, well, that's really it. Just excited about all the new matchups coming. We've got shakeups coming to the featherweight division. 315 going back to Canada, going back to Mexico City, going back to London, like we were talking about. S-Dog was talking about. We're starting to see more on the road shows. It's good. It's nice to have crowds back. It'll be nice when they get done with the expansion, so we can get some crowds into Apex. Oh, we talked about it. You must have missed it. You must have hopped in after we talked about it. We mentioned it. Yes, we were excited about that. Jeff Neal, that is banger.
Where's 314? Where are we at? 313.
Yeah, we talked about at the beginning. We're super high on the Fighting Nerds. Love what Pablo and them are doing down there. Don't know where they find these guys. Yeah, I mean, even just speaking of Carlos Pratos as well, like we talk about Gene Silva, he's in here barking at interviews and just starching people and taunting them in the ring. And then you got this guy that starches people and then goes outside and has a shot of whiskey and a cigarette after. Like,
bro, that entire card. Oh, Cleveland, you're not that far off of me. Shit. You're closer to GL3 than you are closer to me.
Yeah, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, yeah.
No, that whole card. I mean, just the names on half the card. Even if you're a casual, you'll know Cedric Dumas, Jim Miller, Chase Hooper, Julian Arosa, Darren.
That'll be a fun one.
Very fun. Shannon, Juicy J.
Yeah,
I want Jim Miller, dude. I'll always root for Jim Miller till he's done.
Always. Dude, I don't
know. Ben Askren's son. He's a lovable character too.
I know, man. Chase Hooper.
Bro, he's kind of fucking going into fucking killer mode now. Like he's all like dressing up as an elf and waving, and you might look at him and be like, "Oh, okay, this guy.
Who's this nerdy kid?
He's out there killing them, bro." Darren Elkins, Julian Rosa. What did I say? The You Can Do It guy from the Adam Sandler movie versus Jean Chenin.
You can do it. God.
Rob Schneider versus Johan Shinano.
Somebody said it. Yeah, somebody said Rob Schneider from Waterboy one time, and I can't unsee
We've been
now.
saying it for years. My wife's always
Nikita
said that.
Krylov, Dominic Reyes, Sean Woodson versus Dan Ige. I think that's going to be a banger.
Banger.
Jeff Neal, Carlos Prates, Patty Pimblett, Michael
Welcome
Chandler,
to the UFC. Patrizio people.
Volkanovski, Diego Lopez. Also, if we're going to talk about current news and current events.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Wasn't Pitbull fight supposed to be on 314?
Yeah, versus Jair Rodriguez.
Yeah, where's that?
So it showed up on the UFC website.
That's before the Patty Pimblett and Chandler fight.
Damn it, Dana. No, it's not.
He pulled this out from under us. I'm going to be upset.
Wait, hold on. It might. Wait a minute. They're
Let me look on Tapology and see if they.
You know what makes sense?
It says it on the Google when you Google it, and then on Tapology. On the
way on the Google.
The official Google. But it doesn't say it on. Oh, no, it does say it on Tapology. So.
It says it on Tapology? All right, maybe that's not it, dude.
I think they threw that on there on purpose because if Pitbull goes out there and gets a crazy knockout finish against Yair, bang, there's your next title shot.
Well, that's what I was getting ready. That's what I was getting ready to say too. Again, we talked about other things, bro. Like maybe Ilya Taporia, and I'm not saying he did this, but there's a world where maybe Ilya Taporia is like, okay, no, but I doubt it. But again, maybe the Pantoja.
Ilya's ducking Pitbull.
Maybe everybody said he was scared after Volk too. That turns out he wasn't. Or the Max Holloway. No, it was the Max Holloway KO. Everybody's like, "Oh, he's scared." Nah, it turns out he wasn't. No, I was looking at that fight night card in Vegas to see if they would maybe have put the Pantoja.
Oh,
but it ended up being a fight night card. I looked to see what it was.
Hey, maybe we'll see some crazy announcement. Marab versus Pantoja. I want to see that fight so bad.
It's not. I just checked Tapology. It's not even on there.
Yeah.
I know they dropped the graphic because they dropped the graphic and then we did a graphic. Like
Pantoja and Kai Kara France.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you,
it disappeared, and then the Pitbull. Look, we got 2 fights now that are missing. So
what's the
Miami
other one?
card?
Well, Pitbull's on Tapology and Google, just not on UFC. So it looks like that one's just not updated on the UFC website. But
they might move it to the so the week before that is that Apex card. So I could see them moving the Pitbull fight to the Apex card to give it some draw.
I
don't like it. But
Woodson would be a main card fight then.
Huh? Yeah, but you got to figure Pitbull's used to fighting at Bellator arenas, so average size crowd for him at the Apex.
True.
No,
good to see these Bellator fighters coming over to free patchy mix.
Aaron, did you hear what he said about Aaron Pico?
Mm-hmm.
He said Sean Shelby and the new Silva guy are super high on fucking. He said it's the way Dana spoke was very positive, and usually if Dana speaks positively, then there's something.
So it's more of like a matter of when rather than if.
Yeah.
So that'll be neat.
It's really neat. Pico's coming. Free Patchy Mix, free Johnny Eblin.
Free Patchy Mix.
I guess we're getting ready to get out of here. I will hit the banner real quick to let everybody know. First of all, you can go to the show notes, YouTube, Facebook, down in the comments. All our links, Linktree, everything's down there. But all things Checkmate MMA, Linktree/Checkmate MMA, full episodes at Checkmate MMA on YouTube. Clips available on all socials at Checkmate MMA. Sorry. Exclusive interviews and content and merch coming soon with our new partners over at millions.co. Check us out on millions.co/checkmate CHKM8-MMA. And then, of course, our fresh roasted to order specialty grade organic coffee. We promise you it's good. It's MMA themed. It's good. We wouldn't.
If you don't believe us, get a bag and try it yourself.
Try it. And you can go ahead and use code CHKM8 Checkmate at checkout for free shipping. That's tinyurl.com/checkmate roasters. Again, everything's down in the show notes. We will be back Wednesday evening. GL3, you joining us Wednesday, fella?
Wednesday, let's go.
We'll be back Wednesday evening
back
with
there.
a normal Fight Show episode 73. Somebody hit the comments. Tanner requested a hairstyle. Lazy's requested a hairstyle live from Cleveland.
I'm gonna get at least.
Sure,
I'll get
bro.
braids, and I'll look like what was that coach? What was his name? Is it
Jason
Jason
Strout.
Farrell?
He
Jason
does
Strout.
he does the Jason Strout braids. If you know who Coach Jason Strout is, former Kill Cliff FC coach.
I think he still coaches there, but still.
No, he left. He's done. He's nomading around the world, I believe, right now. But no, his last day at Kill Cliff was the other week. Shout out to Coach Jason Strout, OG legend in the game. Lazy, if you were tuning in,
That's who I look like. I'll get braids next time.
Bill Bookwalter will be back Wednesday. He will give y'all his highly educated opinion on what went down with the stoppage. For those of you that are still confused by it, Strout braids like Squanto. Lazy said, "Lazy, we appreciate you tuning in." Everybody else that tuned in, this will actually be clipped up. This is our first piece of partner content with Millions. So if you do not follow us on Millions, go over there, check it out. Follow us over there. Links in the descriptions. Till then, we'll see you guys on socials, in the groups. Until next week.
Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks, boys.